Purgatory 20 are the sufferings of the souls willed by them. The sufferings that the souls live in this purgatory, therefore, after the individual judgment, are they willed by them? So I would say that in order to answer this question, you must consider two issues. What these souls as such desire most of all is to pay their debts with grief. They desire to become worthy of Christ. This is what happens during the first stage of their purification. They desire most of all that one day to see God, and for that they take the means, they pay back as best they can and what they feel is due, depending upon what they are, by the way. If they have been severe on earth with their neighbor, they may have judged themselves very harshly, and they demand much more of themselves. And then, on the other hand, there is the suffering which will cause this payment of the depths of pain, desperation, especially when it goes on for a long time. That purgatory is in its fifth phase, which is called time. So despairing, when these souls are in this state, it must be recognized they do not want this suffering. They beg the Lord to deliver them from it. They do not understand why He is hiding or absent. They would prefer to die. So much do they despair that He does not return, that it seems so long. They are simply LT. One cannot wish suffering for suffering's sake. Christ Himself, when He arrives in the Garden of Olives, says to God His Father, "If this cup can pass away from me, but not my will, but your will be done." Well, that's exactly their attitude to those souls that are present in purgatory. One could object to this by what Dina Bélanger stated, a blessed Canadian who in her writings constantly asks God, more suffering, more suffering. We say to ourselves, but she therefore has an attitude, she who is holy, which is to love the sufferings she experiences. In fact, when you read Dina Bélanger, you really have to understand the excesses of the poetry of love. This means that this young woman, a nun in fact, what she wishes is to do the will of God. It is to do so, taking it to the limit. Bear the sufferings of his brothers were for his own sins. And so in her excessive language, she says, I want even more suffering, Lord. You have to know how to translate. By reading these words of Dina Bélanger in the light of the words of Christ, who, as we know, is the very model of holiness, and who does not desire sufferings for the sake of suffering, but their effect, the salvation of man and his entry to him from his human soul into the beatific vision. Well, in the same way in purgatory, those souls who are holy, who are on a mystical journey, sometimes can cry out in moments of renewed hope, Lord, thank you for the despair. Thank you for all these sufferings that you send to me. If necessary, I will stay in purgatory until the end of the world. I am so guilty, but in reality, in their deep attitude, they want to see Christ again. They desire the joy of holding Him in their hands. It's obvious, and they wish to be with their brothers in heaven. It is for this purpose that they accept such suffering as a means and not as an end, and therefore they also accept the purifying effect that these sufferings have upon them.